actually going to begin today with one of the new poems from the book. For New and Selected, it's always fun to do new. And this is an introduction to the section called Rumors of War, and I'm reading it for September 11th. It's called There Are No Rules. An ordinary Tuesday, the kind of Tuesday I wake up knowing I've got a certain job to do. Walk the dog, read the paper, butter toast. Skip headlines for the entertainment news, go upstairs, turn the computer on. I don't want to do the job I have to do, a boring job, moving words around, editing a book on World War II and Vietnam. Instead, phone friends to plan a dinner out, old friends we've known 30 years. He answers for a change, says, turn on CNN, stays on the line as the second tower falls. Sorry, he says, their marriage is over, she's gone. I hadn't guessed a thing. Over and over I watch the planes, the people, some jump holding hands. Because this is a selected, I took Sue's advice on how to actually do a reading because the poems span such a very long period of time and cover a lot of topics. So what I'm going to do is audience participation. So I would like for you to give me a page number between page 8 and 107, and I will read the poem on that page.
22.
So, 22.
Let's just move this down to your face shows.
22 is the end of a very long poem, so I could read 23 instead. Okay, 23. This poem actually is kind of fun. When it was published in a magazine, one of my husband's colleagues went up to him and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear, that your marriage is in trouble because of the poem." But that was because when I wrote the poem, I changed the in the last line, your to his. So it's just what we do is make fiction. It's called Interlude. I have this whole long day before me. The cats sleep in puddles of sun on the floor. The plants press their green hands against my window, shadows on the page, the pen upright and moving until you call. The phone bursts into the dozing house like a challenge, like an intruder, like a gossip gone half mad to see the sky falling. You say, it's been 3 weeks now. You say, how long the waiting? I lie on the bed alone and listening, my hand pressed to my eyes, staring through red fingers at the sun, unable to answer or cry, pinned by my own heat to the undone sheets, and his shirt left empty and hung on the hook of the closet door. Another page?
44.
44. This is from the Rumors of War section, and it's actually the title poem of Rumors of War. An air raid siren winds into frenzy, and Mum screams at us to get down to the cupboard under the basement stairs she has lined with cans and blankets, and squashed together in the dark, we kneel on the mattress she has laid there, foreheads pressed to the musty ticking, fingers clasped on the backs of our thin necks, and the siren falls silent, and none of us, not even the baby, cries. And the all-clear hoots the drill over, and Mum says a prayer, and I follow my brother up into afternoon light so bright, my eyes blink open, and here is the cottage at night, you sound asleep beside me. Why, after so many years, so many wars, this is the crisis that invades me, rouse me out of the duvet's nest to stand at the window staring south where the cities are, where the mushroom clouds would be. The moon, not full, tows 1,000,000 stars down the horizon. 1,000 years ago, 1,000 years from now, a woman is wakened by fears for things she knows she can't make better. At least her lover and her son are here asleep in bed she has made for them, and that same old moon follows its cycle, and the stars and the lake's long silver shadow are this, still. Another page?
7.
No, it starts at 8. Do you want 8? Oh, no, actually it does have, 7 is the introductory poem, Show Don't Tell, that Sue mentioned. And it's the introduction to a section called Traveling Light, which are poems about travel. My mother claims she was born with itchy feet. She still resents she wasn't sent to Australia and Japan as the men from her army intel unit were. I find her on the floor between wheelchair and bed, one sock on, bare toes knuckled under, her hand a fist that wipes what might be tears. Who told you to come in? She had the D-Day treks with Dad, camping trips, tours by bus through Italy and Greece. Before he died, they booked a cruise to Bali and Christchurch. She wouldn't go alone. I remember every spring the brochures and the maps that came by mail, the itineraries she planned, the fun more in the schemes than in the going. Truth is, she learned to like my husband only when, a year after the wedding she fought me to prevent, we hitched from Amsterdam to Crete. The one good gene, she said, I got from her, the travel bug, the wanderlust.
13.
13? This is another travel poem. It's called The Traveler. Sits cross-legged by the rooftop pool, nails digging at bites on her ankles, should leave them alone. Should have worn long pants last night or doused herself with bug spray, first lesson of the tropics. Bathed in sweat as if trapped in a hot flash that never ends, and her hair, which grew back brindle, not the brown mop she was born with, crinkles in the damp. Sparks would fly should anyone reach out to touch her. She needs to sleep. All those hours lost in transit, a whole day lost to time zones. Puffy hands, swollen face, almost the chemo look again. The pool still, the hotel the kind that prides itself on service, though she woke to rhythmic pounding on the wall more than once last night. Maids on every floor, starch sheets, frangipani on the pillow, she thinks it's frangipani. She dozes underneath a creaking fan, dreams helicopters thrum, guns stutter, stench of fire. Wakes cramped, stupid with the heat, horizon dimmed by clouds. Not clouds, smoke of slash and burn. Evening sky, a scarlet haze. That's what destruction does, makes beauty from what passes. White blossoms fall, a gentle rain of ashes.
103.
103. Way back to the back of the book. A kind of catechism. Without the moon, the sky a sieve of starlight. Without a breeze, the lake a silver plate cupped in the hill's dark hands. What has brought us down through the tunnel of trees where nothing scurries or buzzes or squeaks, but holds its breath on tiptoes, eyes unblinking? What has taught us that words will only sully the dispensation wine has blessed us with, to strip and lower ourselves without ripple or gasp, naked over the dock into water warmer than the air? What draws us out from the shadows of the shore, fingers and feet move barely enough to stay afloat, flat on our backs, arms spread to embrace the aurora that shimmers and flares from the northern horizon, thrilling the universe with a green and rosy pulse that moves us also beyond the touch of a lover's hand, your hand coaxing my lips to open, my arms and legs hugging you, holding you in, pulling you under with me, anointed by this flood that loosens our tongues into vowels of praise, vowels of naming. Who are we to honor in this way? Who are we to be so honored? What page number?
99.
99. You got me all into the love poems now.
I thought it was going to be a Gretzky poem.
No, that's earlier in the book. This one is called Communion. 1. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, this my beloved and my friend. Let me for the space of one evening close the books, turn off the radio and TV. It is not that I do not acknowledge the sins and wickedness the world lays bare for me, not that I dare to pretend I am less than alone nor guiltless. I cannot walk by myself under the flowering trees in the park. The repairman who comes to my house rubs past me saying sorry, licking his teeth, pliers open in his fist. The lilies wilt, their leaves turn yellow in the rain. Even though butterflies are born without wings, for 3 hours, 4, let me forget this. Let me look on love and hear the voice of his desire. 2. In the back seat of the taxi and in the restaurant until the waiter leaves us, we say nothing. We touch comfortably and in passing. The clatter of forks and knives, the chatter of other conversations, whirl their cocoon of noise around us. Wine is poured, bread steams in its basket. What goes on beneath the linen cloth, where trousered leg presses stocking knee, discourse of skin, subtext of ardent bone, our lips unfurl and the wine goes down smoothly. 3. Choir of wrens in a trellis of vines, table, basket of bread, white plate, rounds of melted cheese. Spilled wine bleeds on the cloth, your hand on the cloth striped by sunlight. Fine hair black on your forearms, black in the open neck of your shirt. Scar on your throat throbs as pulse slows, breath evens. We sit back, my palm held open out to you, offering this close we've come to grace. Take, eat.
62.
62.
The power. Gives me a measure of control. I love it. 62.
This one I wrote about my son Ned, and I'm really pleased that Jordan and Holly have come. So now you know what your friend's mother is really like. It's called Prepare Yourselves. Prepare yourselves, the paramedics say. Our son's head lolls, arms and legs in spasm, agitated, unresponsive, they say, carrying him out to the ambulance. We cannot ride with him because of SARS, because of rules, because there is no room. We stand on the sidewalk, hands flutter useless while they hook him to machines. The door slams shut, siren brings the neighbors running. The ER doctor says it after the spinal tap, the CAT scan, meningitis, some patients don't make it, or brain damage. Thick black straps bind our son's wrists and ankles to the gurney, cinch his waist, but still he flails. Monitors ping. The intern says, prepare yourselves. And the ICU nurses with their soft shoes and softer whispers say it too. Tubes in his arms and nose, snake under the sheets, clamps on his forefinger, forehead taped to his chest. Sometimes for almost a whole hour he lies still before he jerks and tosses once again. Sometimes his eyes open, rolled back, white stained red. We take turns holding his cold fists, cradle his head in our hands. Love, 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 we say to him, and we are here, we will not let you go. A nurse says, unconscious, he can't hear you. We brush his burning forehead with our lips, we kiss his fingers, his flushed cheeks, come back to us, come back. The numbing of hospital rooms like the one down the hall where he was born nearly 18 years ago, where we labored for hours just like these, oblivious to noon and night and morning, time measured by the changing of the nurses' shifts. Our focus on breath, the need to make what we believe will happen, happen. Faith past understanding that he will be delivered to us whole, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Follow that with this one, growing pains. I study how to say goodbye, the line between holding on too long, letting go too soon. And though he's only home alone weekends, we're at the cottage, still I worry over accidents to which teenagers are prone. Not accidents only, but the dreams of glory that lead a boy or girl his age to strap on dynamite and board a midday bus. Here is a woman my age in the news, dressed primly as a nun, who cradles a portrait of her son in his last note, proof he thought of her before he made himself the bomb that blew. What's up, our son said when he calls, at least he always calls, doing good, you? Look at the sheer height of him. Look at the shoulders squared by rowing, the round calves, muscles in his arms. Look at the length of his fingers, his feet, oh, the size of his feet. Look at the bleached tips of his hair, buzz cut, the bristles on his chin. Look at those eyebrows, those sage green eyes. Look how he fills the single bed he slept in since the crib was put away. I used to lie beside him reading stories, kiss him goodnight. Now I stand at the door of his room, wait for him to ask me in. I kissed my dad a lot when I was young, when he was old, in between handshakes and hugs, the same way you say hello to our son, goodbye. From behind he walks like you, your gait, the shift of hips, the length of stride, walking away, never looking back, never needing to, knowing we're here, hand in hand, watching him go. Is that another page number?
40.
40. I have to go to 39 if that's all right. This is a series of poems from my first book, Censored Letters, which was set in the First World War, and it's a take on Penelope, the woman staying at home while the husband goes off to war. From Flanders Fields. In the beginning you write that I should not imagine the war. The reality, you say, is mostly boring. You march and move your camp, and march and move again. Some days you sit in trenches ducking bullets. Some nights you crawl through stinking mud and wire to shoot at other men and curse the moon. Then your letters become brief, arrive less often. In them you damn the food, report the weather, repeat the joke that ghosts that year are popular in France. You say no bullet yet has got your number. After the last long silence, you send me only this copy of a soldier's poem about the dawn, about the singing of small brown birds. Censored. What is left out are vital details, where you are when you write me. I think of your colonel in his tent sifting through the thin blue pages, his boredom, his pencil ripped space between words, holes at the ends of the lines, sentences cut and butchered. Quite safe, you say, in blank, though blank has died, and blank is what you wish me. Romance and reality. We make romance of this writing, this casual talk between lovers, as if it were morning, as if we were still flushed with love. 3 letters a week, 52 weeks a year. For how many years of your lifetime will you call this the time of your life?
41.
41.
You're cheating. You're not having a book.
41 is it's just had a blank. It's a poem that's based on another person's poem, where the 4 lines of another poem.
Glossa.
Glossa, thank you. That was a complete blank here. Anyway, they appear as the 4th line, the last line of my stanzas, and the stanzas are 10 lines long, and the 6th and 9th line rhyme with the 10th. So it's a very structured form. And the poem is based on a poem by Margaret Atwood called The Loneliness of the Military Historian, and her words are these. I have walked on many battlefields that once were liquid with pulped shells and splayed bone. All of them have been green again. The war tourist. My father never talked about his war until bits of lead began to surface on his chin 2 years before he died, shrapnel embedded underneath the skin. His fingers trembled as they lined up salt and pepper shakers, ours and theirs. At every meal, tales of tanks and guns. I rolled my eyes as he told his tales again and yet again, so often that I feel I have walked on many battlefields. In Quezon, consider those blue hills that 40 years ago spit death into a sink of blood. Among thin weeds, incense smokes to smooth the ghosts that wander looking for their names. See the cult of rusted ordnance, ripped helicopter blades, a broken plane, sandbag bunkers carefully sculpted that once were liquid with pulped flesh, the screams of dying men. The museum is empty. The tout cradles his tray of dog tags, VC pins, sleeps beneath a flowering coffee tree. It's that hot, that still, that crush of white petals underfoot, stones raked in careful rows. My wars have been movie wars, close-up wounds, wide lens views of blown shells and splayed bone in technicolor with a full orchestral score, death staged at one remove. I have been to Juno Beach where my father's war began, have seen the Vimy statues, visited Vietnam, scene of the anguish of my youth, the marches, protest songs. These monuments to ruin remain, and all of them have been green again. Page number?
77.
77? Waking my father after his breathing stopped. After my mother at last was persuaded to leave, my sisters and brothers supporting her, that long walk down Whitehall's, there was nothing I could do but tidy round the corpse. So many empty coffee cups, so many crumpled tissues. And on the bedside table, his travel clock still jerking seconds round the dial, a tin of mints, pill bottles, Glass of scotch he sipped so watered in the end it had no smell. 2 potted plants, a stack of magazines, and on them his glasses, lenses smudged with his fingerprints. I held them to my eyes and the world blurred, gray and watery, and the only sound this keening in my ears, so high and pure, it should have shattered glass, should have cracked his stillness, but it could not and does not. Sue?
92.
Family plot. In the village, it seems that every other house is lived in by an uncle, a cousin, a second cousin once removed. In the cafe, the waitress leans on your table, says, "I know who you are. Your grandfather's sister-in-law was my mother's great aunt," and gives you a glass of wine on the house. "So good to see you back home," she says. "In this place you've only briefly visited, need a map to follow the lanes, help to decipher the accent. You could be the only child of only children, your grandparents' generation blown away by bombs and hunger, and in the move from there to here, your surname changed to a word more easily spelled. Now you have found the family plot, the crypt where every name but 2 echoes, an infant, an old woman, the stillborn son of a married daughter, a much-loved maiden aunt. You don't need to look up the records. You tell the story that fits, that makes it good as true." I'm going to end now. I think all poetry reading should end with a love poem, and this is a little sonnet. It's called Still. Snow fallen on crusted snow, that crackle underfoot. Stars and moon impossibly low, impaled on pines on the hill above us. Chimney smoke. Thin lines, the breath of dreamers in their beds, the single curled fetally, couples sprawled in the aftermath of argument or sex. Familiar as we are with the dangers of ice, frost-wrinkling foreheads, we still walk at night, trail back to our own front door. Moon lights our room, make shadow play of clothes we shed. Here, where we are most at home, we lay most bare, clasped tight as 2 hands clasp, in promise, in praise, in prayer. Thank you.